Good morning. Joe Cox Jr. here with my wonderful wife, Jonna Sue. Say hello.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to Life Made Simple, Getting Through This Narcissistic World. What we're going to do today, a lot of you have seen our introductory to my wife because a lot of you had asked about her. And then after we um, had that video out for a little while, a lot of you said, tell us more about your marriage. Let us see more of her, that sort of thing. So this is what we're going to talk a little bit about today is what is a good marriage? What growing up in dysfunction, all we see is dysfunction. It wasn't just in my household, it was other households. And I remember growing up thinking, I don't want my marriage to be like any of these people, but is it really possible? Is it really possible to marry that one and only, what you feel like is your soulmate or your twin flame, somebody you're so compatible with? Is that even possible? And I had been told over and over that it wasn't possible. Then later I was told that you must conceive to be able to believe to be able to achieve it. So I'm like, okay, so if I really believe it could happen, or there's that person out there, does that mean it could happen one day? So what I do believe is that if you don't believe it's true, that's true. It's not going to happen for you. You've got to. Um, you'll never have more than what you're willing to achieve. So if this is your benchmark, you're never going to go above that. But if this is your benchmark, then that gives you more to achieve and more to come into your life. It's all in the mind. I've studied quite a bit on quantum physics as well, but we're just going to keep it simple today. So what we're going to talk about is our marriage a little bit. We're going to just talk about some general questions, and if we don't answer the questions that you would like to know more about, we can even do another video later. But this is kind of get it rolling to find out more about us and how we operate from day to day and how we communicate. And the question is, do we argue? Do we, um, how do we find um, our compromise on everything? And for me, I don't really think it's that difficult because I want to give her everything. She's so good to me, and I think it kind of works both ways, doesn't it?
It does. It does work both ways. If it's just one sided, then there's something very much off, and there's going to be a lot less harmony. Um,
And
yeah.
and that's key. Harmony is where you want to be. Harmony is where when you have balance of mind, body, and spirit on both people, and then you're harmonizing with each other. You're being able to communicate without even speaking. I can tell when she's not feeling well or something's bothering her, and I'll just ask her. And she's like, "How do you know?" I know because I'm so connected to her, and I think when we're in harmony with our spouse or our loved one, and this is we're talking about the marriage, but this can also work with other friends and parents, and as far as the connection, you can be in harmony with them as well. But we're talking basically about the marriage today.
Hmm.
So um, just it's amazing because whenever I have a concern or a problem, we don't ever argue. If I have an off day, she doesn't ever say, "Get your crap together." I'll say, "Hey, I'm feeling off today. I've just got to have some quiet time or whatever," and she gives it
Hmm.
to me. There's no fear, insecurity. I don't have to know what she's thinking every moment of the day. Um,
And vice versa. I don't have to know what he's thinking every second of the day because we already communicate. So we already kind of have an idea, you know, and when he's in his work zone or when he's in a zone where he's just in his thinking zone where he's thinking things. He's a thinker and he figures things out very well. And I just give him his space. And he always knows I'm just a few steps or a text or whatever away. I mean, I'm right there, whatever, he needs, and vice versa. When I need my downtime, he'll check in with me, just checking on you. Need anything? Okay, I'm good to go. So it's literally having each other's back and wanting the best for each other enhances the relationship so much more, and never we just don't make assumptions. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but what we do is we don't make assumptions. Um, we communicate, and we communicate like mature adults. And yeah,
That's
so
very good. Yeah, and we just start off our day, even from the first time we wake up. I always say, "How was your night's sleep?" I'm always concerned, did you have a good night's sleep? If not, why? And just things like that. And I always let her know first thing in the morning how much I adore her and thank her for being a part of my life. And that not only throughout the day, but right before we go to bed, we always connect and talk a little bit. And again, let her know thank you, I love you, I adore you. So, and we always have these little texts throughout the day. When she's even shopping for groceries, I may send her a text with a rose or something.
hmm
And it's that constant feeling in contact gives you that really warm and fuzzy, secure feeling. Not that I'm insecure or you're insecure or anything. It's just it's that kindness, that unconditional kindness and
yeah,
love.
we like being together. We like doing things together. We like sharing our life together, and so it's sometimes I feel like we're 16 again. It's great. It's a great place to be in a secure marriage and a secure relationship. It's a fun part of that, and there's nothing wrong with that. We love it. It's just it comes natural for us, but it's a desire that we had long before we reconnected, and so it's definitely a mutual respect for each other, and just being there for each other, wanting the best for each other. That's key. Um, Coming from relationships in the past that were very narcissistic and controlling and just nothing good about them. Um, you can't have that balance in that because there's so much anxiety and fear mongering and deceptive things going on. It That whole energy just takes over, and it clouds everything that could be good with it. And so, and being in a relationship like way back, if there was a time when when I got rid of that person in our lives, my ex, when my children were a little bit younger, but old enough for me to know that they were grateful that I did. Um, Without going into details there, just to what I had to do, I knew I was going to be a single mom, and I got geared up for it. I got ready for it. I worked long hours. I continued to search and look for opportunities and even employment that would even be better than the one I had. And I was always grateful for what I had, but I always kept my radar on, so to speak, for something better. And um, I was blessed with great jobs. Um, so what I did when I ended that chapter of my life where that person was no longer in my life by my choice, I started working on me and becoming my best self. I just focused in on being healthier. I took better care of myself. I wanted to just be my best self, and my kids were like, "Go mom, that's awesome." you know they were they were like, "Yeah, let's do this." And I there was a lot more peace in our lives. Um so I just had to become centered and find myself again instead of being the shadow of someone who is extremely toxic. And the sunshine began to shine a lot brighter. And if you're in a situation like that, just I'm putting it out there. Just become closer and one with God, with yourself. Love on your children, hug them, tell them you love them. There's a lot of emotions going through them as well as to what's going on. They may have been relieved and happy for my choice of what I did for us, But a lot still goes with that. They need you to listen to them, love on them, and just keep moving forward. Don't look back. And you will find that that the paths will become brighter. And then that path led me back to him where I was supposed to be all along. Now, my two beautiful children were the most beautiful gifts that I could have been given out of the toxicness that I was in at the time. And that's okay. They they helped me keep it together simply because I was a mom. And so those are just little things that I am sharing that helped me to get through those moments. There was a lot of crying. There was a lot of, you're going through a transition. You've got to, if you cry your way through it, that's fine. You know, I cried, I prayed, I begged, I pleaded with God. I mean, everything you can think of. I mean, I had a very sweet friend. She would call me up and I'd be like, I don't think I can get through this day. And she was like, you're doing this. You're strong. Stay the course. It's going to be okay. And one day, your desires, because your desires are good, they will come to pass, but don't give up. And 2 or 3 years later, we reconnected. Um, so I had to get to a place where I was ready for him. And that timing really is everything. If you're not ready for that person to come into your life that will lift you up and you lift him up, them up as well,
It can be very self-sabotaging.
it
If
can
you're,
be.
yeah, if
Hmm.
you're not ready.
Oh, there's a spider.
Uh-oh, there's a blooper there. Okay, Mama saved me. See,
Yeah, no spiders allowed. They can have
we're in
their
the
own
country,
island.
but she doesn't like snakes and spiders. I
No,
don't know why.
no, they can just go on about their way. But but you're right. It can be self-sabotaging if you do come across that correct person that you're supposed to be with. Um, if you're not ready, you may not know it.
Mhm.
So anyway, I hope I didn't ramble too
It's
much.
basically just raising your awareness, getting yourself prepared. If you don't focus on yourself, that person might come right into your life and right by you because you're not prepared and you're not at the consciousness level of them and their preparedness. The right person may pass you by. So work on yourself. It's never selfish. And I'm going to do another video, actually today, I believe, on selfishness versus self-care. A lot of you have asked me about that as well. How do we really define it? And I've got it. I put in my book, I talk about it, how we need to put ourselves first, and it's not selfish. But I'm going to talk to you in detail why I say that. Okay? So, but for today, we just wanted to talk a little bit more. I think you got a little bit from my wife as far as her preparing, since you haven't heard her talk much before. And she was able to tell you a little bit about how to get into a situation to where you can have a good marriage or relationship. The whole idea is we first have to work on ourselves. We attract what we are, not what we want. So by the time we came together, we had already been through all the crap, all the BS. There was no games being played. I was not holding back my feelings. She was not holding back her feelings. And I don't feel like I ever have to protect my back. With my family of origin, I always had to watch for knives in my back and all. And she's got my back. So there's a lot of difference in a narcissistic family, that you always have to sit there and watch your back versus somebody having your back.
Yes.
She's got my back. If there's something going on that I don't see, she'll bring it up to me, or if I need her to lean on a little bit because I'm going through something emotional, she's there for me to lean on. That is not weakness. And I'm going to do another video too on guys, because guys think that certain things with their emotions are weaknesses. And what I found out, that's not true at all. It's all these society pressures that they put on marriage, how guys are supposed to act, how women are supposed to act, all this. And it gets right down to it. Be yourself. Be your best self. We want you to be yourself, but be your best self. The whole idea, you were born the perfect you. Nobody's ever told you that probably, but you were born the perfect you. Your goal now is to become the best you. And what I see people a lot of times going around and they're sloppy in their lives, and they're like, I'm just this way. And I'm like, well, that might be you, but that's your sloppy you. Why don't you become your best you? Okay. And with my wife here, she really helps me to become the best me. So let me talk real briefly and then we'll let it go. I was single, and while I was single, I was fine with that. Um, Being single, I developed myself quite a bit in my career, that sort of thing. But now that I'm married, I love being married. I wouldn't trade it for anything. But at the same time, I enjoyed the times I was single too. Um, so it's all just be okay wherever you are in life. Show gratitude for that because you're there for a reason. Everything has a purpose. So, the bottom line, I just wanted to reach out and let you hear more from my wife. And this is probably a lot to help the ladies out there, especially if they've gone through a toxic breakup and that sort of thing. Just know that you're not crazy if they're treating you anything um, disrespectful, lack of trust, that sort of thing. You've got to have the two things you got to have in a marriage. You got to have trust and you got to have loyalty. And if that does not come natural, you shouldn't have to try to do that. That should just come so natural because that's what puts you in harmony. Um, the other thing is just being at a place, being like I said, being prepared, mind, body, and spirit. So make sure you, for the guys, make sure you have a good career. Make sure you have, you know, your stability. That way, again, if you're thinking about getting married and you have cold feet, there's a reason you have cold feet. I say this, and I'll swear by this. Everybody I've spoken to in the past that's gotten divorced always had cold feet or second thoughts before they got married. Every single person that's ever got divorced. And that goes with me too, and I think it goes with you too.
Yep.
And so when you go, like when we got engaged and we got married and all, not once did I have second thoughts or anything. I knew she was the right one. And after marriage, same thing. I still know it today that she is the one. She's the best, most beneficial person for me to experience this life with. And my strengths may be her weaknesses. Her strengths are my weaknesses, and that makes us very compatible.
Very balanced.
Yeah, very balanced, and that's what you want. Um, I see a lot of people just marrying the wrong people for them, and it may be marrying good people. I've seen great people married to each other, and just their marriage is not functioning well, and they don't understand why. And that's because they don't have the balance. They're not compatible. She's also my best friend, so that's another thing. Marry your best friend because that will go forever. When you're married to your best friend, and you can have the trust and the loyalty there.
Yeah.
Any final words?
Oh, there's so much to share. I hope that this has been helpful. Um, again, nobody is perfect. Perfection can really be misconstrued. Um, we're all human, but there's a right way and a wrong way to treat each other. And when you know you're with the right person, you know. And like Joe said, there's a lot of great people out there that are married to other great people, but their marriage is just not clicking like it should, and there's issues there that are not good. And so you want to try to avoid that before you get into it if at all possible. So
I want to add one little thing real fast. Sorry if I interrupted
go
you.
ahead.
But one thing that I think it plays a big benefit for us. If you're an empath, marry another empath. We're both empaths.
Yep.
And so we both feel deeply. We feel so let that be your guide of when you're dating somebody. Do you feel like they're an empath? Do they talk deeply? Do they have, talk deep about their feelings? Do they feel these things? That helps you to be in that same consciousness level. But that's just my 2 cents worth on that. But I think that really helps.
Yeah, I got to tell you too. There's to me now. You can say in the comments, what you think about this, but in my personal experiences, when a good man can express a feeling and he's not afraid to express that feeling, and it it melts my heart. It's like, oh my gosh, he's human. This big strong man is not afraid to feel something, to cry at heartache, or to be joyful in something. He's not this statue, and you don't know what he's thinking or feeling. When when I see a strong man like my husband here, and he's not afraid to express a feeling, it just melts my heart. It's like, wow, that's pretty awesome.
So one reason I've always felt deeply, but in coming up in a narcissistic family, my mother, father, siblings, people I dated, always took advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of that started to shut down in me. But when we got together, I realized I was safe. She was protecting my feelings so I could express myself. And the more I expressed myself and the more she built that trust, I saw that she was willing to have my back, then it allowed me to express more. And I will tell you, that's where a lot of my healing came from, just being able to express myself,
Mm-hmm.
not keeping all those trapped emotions built up.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Your feelings were valid.
yeah.
And sometimes people just need their feelings validated. And that's important.
This is one thing before we go, is that you have a right to always feel what you're feeling. There's never a wrong feeling. It may not be unbeneficial. It may not be, it's there for a purpose, in other words. And you should, every day is a lesson. Everybody's your teacher, and look for the lesson in it. We're not supposed to be living in these feelings and emotions. We're supposed to be growing with those feelings and emotions,
Yeah.
through critical thinking skills and being able to assess them. But anyway, that's going to be it for today on this video, and just want to let you know how much we have gratitude for you guys.
Yeah.
We started this channel a couple months ago,
Yeah.
and the comments have been amazing.
Yeah. Thank
And
you.
it's given us quite a motivation to keep it going. So
Yeah.
we're here to all grow together
Mm-hmm.
and all become stronger in one.
Yes. Thank you. We appreciate every single comment, and our hearts go out to you. And it's thank you. So,
From Life Made Simple, getting through this narcissistic world, Joe Cox Jr. here with Jonna Sue.
yeah.
From our hearts to yours, we wish you nothing but blessings. Bye-bye.